Someone offends you, and not for the first time. Your first instinct? You feel that intrusive rush of blood. But they don't stop. You have a repeat offender on your hands. It could be anyone, the dearer the worse. What do? Well, forget I asked. You're boiling with rage already, cursing under your breath, or even plotting some petty revenge as you make their soul your sworn enemy. But here's the twist, and you better pause, for everything depends on it. While you're stewing in your anger, the offender has probably forgotten all about you and is singing along to their favorite tune on the radio, blissfully unaware. Or maybe they know, but they haven't stopped, because they never do, because they don't know how to, because they don't want to. It's their habit, their pattern. It is who they are. Yet you've bittered yourself up in misery. Happens often enough, doesn't it? So who's really suffering here? You got it. Just you. How much more damage anger and grief do than the things that cause them? The Stoics knew this, which is why Stoicism offers a radically different approach to such everyday frustrations, one of deliberation. It asks us to perceive, to forgive, to deliberately ponder what you don't control and accept it. It asks us to perceive that holding on to anger or resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. Sounds absurd, right? Yet that's precisely what we do when we cling to grudges or misplaced expectations, false understanding of others even. I'll show them. Where's help when I need some? He'll come back, wouldn't he? These are more excuses than sound judgment when it comes to internal dialogue. Fine. Complain if it helps you with something. But if it doesn't, don't you think not complaining is better than deaf ears and an unparticipating inner self? A muddied understanding, that's what our complaints are, of what we think about situations and our and others' sensibilities. In anger, as in resentment, we stop perceiving rationally. Worse, we let irrational things creep into our perceptions. In doing so, we stop paying attention to the damage our anger and resentment cause us, the loss of emotional balance and sensibilities when the false bridges of expectations fall, and the snuffing out of growth opportunities and relationships we might build if we take things just a tad bit rationally. All in the name of disagreements, expectations, disrespect, and you know it. The list never ends. Irrational and with no benefits, but we still do it. Why? Because sometimes, which is most of the time when incapacitated by anger or other such emotions, we don't know how to do any better, because we don't accept the power of deliberation in refining our rationality, that deliberately accepting things after carefully studying them for what they truly are might just put things into perspective. Often, anger and resentment at disagreements and perceived offense or disrespect are misguided attempts at fixing what we don't fully understand or even comprehend. We can do better. We must do better, and we must start it by forgiving others. But why should I forgive someone who's clearly in the wrong? You question, and you question well. The answer? For yourself. How? By recognizing our common humanity, shared humanity. We all make mistakes. We all have bad days. By acknowledging this, we foster a sense of compassion and understanding, not just for others, but for ourselves too. But they're fine, you say. He's enjoying it, you yell. Well, that might be the case, but why make it worse? Why get angry over something you can't change, can't control? Would your anger make them realize their folly? Would it? Or will it make it worse? What if they didn't have a mind of their own to begin with? Remember, this doesn't excuse the experts hell-bent on creating bad days. You don't stay rooted, eyes closed, waiting for them to stop. You discard them from the list of people you take seriously, at least until they stop doing their best work. But you do that only after you're done checking their humanity, or the lack of it. In case they have some of it, at least in the capacities for valuing human life, you make a note of it, escape their hold, and use it to stay escaped. With them too you empathize, given you find enough humanity, but only after making sure you are beyond their toxicity. This realization, this concept that goes much deeper than just saying "I forgive you" to someone who's stepped on your toes, is anything but absurd. How could it be absurd if it hands you a gift you never need to open to enjoy? A gift that Stoicism has been wrapping up for centuries. The gift of forgiveness. One that you give yourself, never open, and still gain inner peace from keeping it tucked into your sensibilities. Forgiving those who wrong us, in any way, shape or form, thus in this context, isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about setting ourselves free from the negative emotions that cloud our judgment, disrupt our inner peace, and, frankly, ruin our day. It's an act of strength and self-preservation. It allows us to move forward without the heavy burden of bitterness weighing us down. And let's be honest, life's too short to spend it feeling angry and resentful. But you don't forgive someone just like that. Well, not without effort. This is where the Stoic practice of deliberation comes in. Although Stoics live in the present moment, they never abandon careful consideration of all things, the past and the future included. For you to get an idea of the scope of this consideration, we have curated a selection of quotes from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations in the video linked at the top right. It offers instant mindfulness, so don't skip it. The Stoics know that gaining wisdom from impressions and situations that tempt strong emotions within us will be important in their judgment of impressions and situations further down the line. So, they study their experiences. They study the people who give them a hard time, anger them, disrespect them, and maybe even treat them small. Why? To be better prepared for the next time, for there will be a next time. Thus, it's in this deliberation that the seeds of wisdom are sown. The kind of wisdom we need to ward off people and situations we simply can't ask to stop. And it's the encouragement of this deliberation that makes Stoicism different from the wisdom that doesn't work. Forgive and don't just forget. Deliberate, Stoicism says. Remember the wisdom you gained by studying the reasons behind their disagreement, their anger, their disrespect. The next time they do it, recount and see it for what it's worth. Inspect like no other, and inspect like it's the last thing you'd ever inspect. It's unfortunate that this has happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened, and I've remained unharmed by it. And not just remain unharmed, we stand to become wiser. Reaffirm to yourself, I forgive them, for it gives me peace of mind. I forgive them, for it gives them a chance at redemption. I forgive them, for it gives us a chance at peace. Consider this: when you forgive, you're not condoning disrespectful behavior or unfair treatment. Instead, you're choosing to rise above it. You're deciding that your inner peace is more important than holding on to a grudge. This doesn't mean you should let people walk all over you. Far from it. It means recognizing that your emotional well-being is your responsibility, and that you have the power to protect it by choosing forgiveness over resentment. As the great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "The mind that is anxious about future events is miserable." By forgiving, we free ourselves from anxiety about the past and the future, allowing us to live more fully in the present. We also offer them a chance at redemption, if they wish it so. So the next time someone angers you, take a deep breath and let it go. Not for their sake, but for yours. And when they do it again, either you aren't there or you're there, but chilling, knowing exactly how you're going to handle it this time.